On the 28th of April, the Securities Exchange Commission lifted the leverage limits for investment banks, to which I assume you've watched this video so you know what deposit accounts are and how and why the Express Trust can be used and ought to be used as investment banking. The term for this lifting of leverage limits for investment banks is summarized within this financial rule called net capital rule. A trust miniature shown is what allows you to be recognized as a holding company. A trust miniature shown is what allows you to be recognized as a holding company. A trust miniature shown is what allows you to be recognized as a holding company. I mentioned in the past that rating agencies are the ones that assign credit rating of AAA, AA, and state credit worthiness and trust credit scores, by the way. The Securities and Exchange Act of 1934, which we read in the earlier portion of this video series. See the reason why we started within the earlier series reading the Securities and Exchange Act? Had given the SEC authority to regulate the financial condition of. That's the reason why you are doing this, so that you have the role of a parent holding companies that is not regulated by the SEC, so that you don't have limitation on how much you can leverage using that birth certificate through infinite banking. That is the reason why the exemption exists that was shown in this video. The SEC Act of 1934 had given the SEC authority to regulate the financial condition of broker-dealers. Not you, but those guys coming to you, to provide customers some assurance that their broker can meet its obligations to them. So those Wall Street brokers, right, they'll be coming to you. And all the other people who use their retirement account, whether it's self-directed, whether it's based in education, or their 401k or other types of 401s based in the 26 USC section 401, right, who are using that as investment to gamble on what the broker has initially received permission from you, rather than you being the suckers who use 401k to gamble with the brokers, aka financial advisors. Do you see the hierarchy of how these things work? Holding companies that owned broker-dealers. Another important word you should be familiar with is leverage. According to Oxford Finance Dictionary, leverage is the use by a company of its limited assets to guarantee substantial loans to finance its business. Three things when it comes to leverage. First is the use of something called limited asset for the purpose of acting as a guarantee. When an average man or woman goes into any type of institution, financial institution, banking institution, or a bank, or whatever form of engagement, whereby something is loaned to them, they usually find another party who has similar sets of algorithms, EIN or social security number or whatever it is, to act as a guarantor for them, so that that loan that they are trying to get is guaranteed. The way businesses does this on another level is that they take their assets and uses it to guarantee substantial loans. In other words, a collateral. The formal definition of leverage is the use by a company or a company's use of its limited assets to guarantee substantial loan for finance, to finance its business. In other words, company A takes out 100K and uses one of its cash flowing property as collateral. We know that very well. When you do that non-UCC, there's a very particular box where it says collateral, box 4. For the amendment of the UCC one, it is, I think it's box 8. See this word collateral? It is the same thing applicable in the realm of leverage where you are taking an asset to guarantee something that you're using the collateral to guarantee would not be a loan to those coming to you when you rent it out. When I say it, I'm referring to everything you put as collateral here. When you rent it out, they use it as a guarantee for loans they obtain from you, the equitable owner, in order to now gamble and wager in the contract, bond, stock, and all the other markets, whether it be on a national level, on a state level, or international foreign exchange market, based on real properties like gold, mine, silver, or just other currencies, which are digital assets, quote unquote. Leverage is the purpose of the reason why people fill out this UCC and place that birth certificate in item number 4, collateral. Leverage. The use by a company. It does not identify which particular company. It just says a company. Of its limited asset, it is a possessive term. Hence, for them to be able to use what you have as a collateral. Which brings me to this. Another lesser known fact about this financing statement. This collateral portion is twofold, where whoever is the first lien holder is able to use whatever they list as collateral for other people's purpose, whereby other people can be second, third lien holders under the condition that they are the holder in due course, so that they can use that same collateral as though it is theirs. Don't mistake here. You can be a second, third, fourth lien holder without being the holder in due course. So keep that in mind. Within your PPM, it also provides that option. But the secured party being the express trust, one of its purpose of listing that certificate as collateral here is so that it can consequently repeat the same cycle, so that third parties can come in and rent it for a temporary period of time, aka as a limited asset. I'm showing this formal finance definition of the word leverage for a reason, because each of these words mean something very important. These other third parties, conglomerates, and so forth that we showed in the previous parts to this video series will be using it as limited assets to guarantee the loan they will be taking from you to finance their business. They are already financing their business with that certificate. But of course, when you have equitable interest, you are able to play the proper role. And when Caesar comes to take what is his, you don't do it under a subservient perspective. You give and you take. They give and they take. You give what you have as a first lien interest for the purpose of using it as a collateral. You give part of that as a limited asset so that other entities can be guaranteed to use it as a loan. In other words, you now become the creditor because you first been secured in that thing that you are using, where other people are taking it as limited asset. Without you doing this, it's not a limited asset to them. It's unlimited asset because it's just free floating out there. But when you assert proper claim to it, by the way, the financial statement is not a limitation of how you assert proper claim to it. But this is one of the pertinent instruments. When you use this instrument as one of the pertinent ones, it becomes a limited asset. It limits their access to that thing called a certificate, which is an asset. An asset is anything that continuously brings cash flow to you. It becomes a limited asset to them. where they rent it from you, aka as a loan. They provide you an equivalent value that you determine based on your private placement, so that they can finance their business, which is the use of it in the markets. So whenever you are having certain conversations with people, either through text or just through words, when they use this word leverage, have this in mind and know what they're referring to. That this word leverage involves you, your trust equitable interest as a secured party, and conglomerates and holders in due course come in to use it in a limited manner, which the PPM will stipulate, so that they can finance their business that they would have otherwise used as unlimited had you not secured your interest in it. And for those who don't have the treasury minutes designating certain things, anything onward from this point will be useless to you. Because just like the United States body politic has their own treasury, your trust must have the same. And only through that can it begin to leverage things. I'll leave that be. A word is enough for the wise. Now in layman's term, leverage in simplicity is basically the ratio of someone else's money compared to yours, which gives birth to a higher ratio of your money and someone else's money. The less of your money in that equation, while the amount made is higher than yours and someone else's money used, the better. When it comes to banks, Bob the borrower and Larry the lender, the moment the bank, aka Dick the investor, the moment he bundles that CDO and uses it, he effectively just borrowed the equivalent value of the CDO. In other words, Dick the investment bank literally borrowed the worth of the promissory note that you place here as a collateral. In wholesale, where Bob the borrower is usually clueless that the note even has value. In other words, what I am telling you is, from this point on, that note that you created, along with that. The complete 48-minute video has been posted on the Patreon page. Take care. Best of luck.